credit scores can seem complicated, but I'm here to make it easy. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can increase your credit score within the next 30 days. We'll do this by first explaining how credit scores are calculated, why they're important, and then going over the exact steps that you need to do to improve your credit score ASAP. Having a high credit score is incredibly important if you're trying to get a loan, especially for a new car or a new mortgage for a home. Now, the higher your credit score, the more trustworthy you appear to a lender, resulting in lower interest rates and higher loan amounts. So generally speaking, you want to get your score up as high as possible before you start applying for a loan. Credit scores are calculated by 3 different credit bureaus independently. Look at your credit history to give you a score. These are going to be Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Now, when someone pulls your credit, they get to see your credit score, and sometimes they even get a full report of everything that you owe. The different factors that make up your credit score are going to be payment history, your utilization ratio, credit history, credit mix, as well as the new lines of credit that you have. So let's go into each one of these separately. The biggest factor that determines your credit score is your payment history, which accounts for 35% of your overall score. The payment history shows how good you've been at making your payments, like if you're making them on time or if you've been late. If you've been paying your bills on time and in full, then you're gonna have a perfect score. But if you're over 30 days late 1 or 2 times, then your score will start to take a hit. And if you ever get to be 90 plus days late, then your credit score will tank and take a major hit. So make sure that you're making at least the minimum payments for all of your loans. Now, the next highest factor for your credit score is the amount known as your utilization ratio. And this is calculated by taking how much outstanding credit you've used versus how much you're allowed to use. So for example, let's say you have a credit card with a maximum of $10,000, but you have a current balance of $9,500 on it. Then your utilization ratio will be 9,500 divided by 10,000, which is 95%. And as a normal consumer, there's a good chance that you're not going to be able to afford to pay off that 9,500, so they're going to lower your score because of it. Generally speaking, people who need to borrow as much as they possibly can tend to be riskier people, which is why such behavior typically lowers your score. So to get a high score on that part, you want to make sure your utilization ratio is 30% or lower of your total accounts. So again, if you have the ability to spend $10,000 on a single credit card, then you generally don't want to hold a balance of over $3,000 on that particular card. Now, the next factor is going to be the length of your credit history. This is how long you've had open credit, and it's one of the reasons why people tell you not to close down an old credit card, because that old credit card increases your total utilization ratio, but it also increases your length of credit history. As an example, I once had a credit card for over 10 years, and then I just stopped using it because I was using other credit cards. And after a few years of being inactive with that one card, they closed the account for me. And when that happened, my credit score took a small dip because the average length of my credit dropped once they closed my really old credit card. So make sure you do your best to always keep any of your old credit cards active by doing something simple like putting a recurring utility bill on them. The next factor is your credit mix, which accounts for 10% of your total credit score. And this just means how many different types of credit do you have. They're gonna look to see if you have some student loans, a mortgage, car loans, credit card debt, and any other outstanding loans out there. Having a wide variety of open credit will show lenders that you are more responsible and that you can handle paying for the different types of credit. But don't get it twisted and just start unnecessarily opening up multiple lines of credit just to increase this part of the score. After all, it only accounts for 10% of your overall score, which is really small. And just by naturally buying properties over time or by having multiple credit cards, you will achieve that credit mix. Now finally, the last part of your credit score is the amount of new credit that you have. And this is why people will also tell you not to just open up a bunch of random credit cards when you don't need to, because every time you get a new credit card or you get a new loan, they're going to do something called a hard inquiry on your credit score that will show in your report for 2 years. And if a lender sees that you have a bunch of hard inquiries at the same time within that 2-year time frame, then they're not going to like it and they're going to think you're riskier and charge you more for your loan. But again, this only accounts for 10% of your total score. So if you're going out there shopping for a mortgage and you do a couple of hard pulls within a certain time frame, then most lenders will not ding you for that. So now that you understand how credit scores are calculated and why they're important, let's go over some of the tips that you can use today to improve your credit score. Since your payment history is the biggest factor that impacts your credit score, you want to make sure that you're always making at least the minimum payments on your bills. So this way it shows your creditors that you are responsible and that you're making timely payments. I also recommend putting up all your bills on auto pay so that you don't forget anything and avoid any 30-day, 60-day, or God forbid, any 90-day lates on your credit report. So once your payment history is solidified, the next thing that you can do is lower your utilization ratio as much as possible. So this works really well if you're about to get a loan in the next few weeks. What you can do is just pay off all of your credit cards immediately if you can. So this works because when they calculate your utilization ratio, they're going to look at what you currently owe over the total amount you can borrow. But even if you sign up to pay off your entire balance every month, your statement balance usually pays off on the 15th and will only pay off for what you used the previous month. Whereas wherever you have on the card now will still be part of your total utilization ratio. So if you're using a card regularly, you're always going to be above 0%. So if you really want to maximize this part, then you can just pay off your entire credit card, including your current balance, before they take that snapshot and report it. So this way you're going to have as low a utilization ratio as possible. Another thing that you can do to improve your credit score is just to make sure that your credit history is as long as you can. So always try to keep your credit cards open and never close them, even if you don't use them anymore. And finally, limit the amount of new hard inquiries on your credit score. Don't Don't let anyone pull your credit unless they absolutely need to, and definitely don't start opening new credit cards before trying to get a mortgage. Now, if you guys are really interested in boosting your credit score and you just want to fast track everything, you can go to a credit repair specialist who could help you. Better yet, you can try this tool called Smart Credit. Smart Credit is an online tool that will guide you on what cards to pay off and which amount so that you can increase your credit score as much as possible. With Smart Credit, you can even challenge any negative items on your credit report or even send letters to ask for forgiveness on your debt. It's a pretty neat tool and it's definitely a lot cheaper than going to a credit repair specialist. And you can try it all for 7 days for just $1 with the link down below. So that was a quick snapshot of how you can improve your credit score as fast as possible. And once you improve your credit score and you're ready for a mortgage, you're definitely going to want to check out this video where I go over the 7 questions that you need to ask your lender to get the best mortgage. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you and I'll see you next time. Take care.